start again. It's a redskins.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing the two dynamic defenders on the Chicago Bulls in Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. At the end of the day, we're getting at that point where we're kind of reviewing and assessing individual players and their seasons, and instead of making a video of every single player every single day or something like that, trying to combine them together so we can move on more into the off-season experience. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and their overall defensive display throughout the year, and how big of an impact was Alex Caruso or Lonzo Ball or both of them combined to our defense, because without a shadow of a doubt you could clearly see how much these two really impact the Chicago Bulls team in its entirety. And I want to kind of talk about both of them individually. First, I want to talk about Alex Caruso, because he was the guy that actually kind of ended the season with the Chicago Bulls. Missed game 5, unfortunately, due to a concussion. But with both guys, the most important thing to take away is that, yes, they had great defensive displays. Yes, they were pivotal towards the success of the Chicago Bulls. And yes, the long-term success of the Chicago Bulls will probably have to rely on both of those two remaining healthy. But injuries was so massive for these two, and it affected our defense in more ways than one. Let's start off with Alex Caruso. Obviously, he did have a couple of injuries at the beginning of the year, a couple of strains and stuff like that, and obviously broke his wrist, I believe, or hurt his wrist, fractured his wrist, whatever it was, due to a Grayson Allen foul. And obviously, the concussion towards the end, missing the last game of the NBA playoffs. So many injuries, so many nagging injuries that affected him from time to time, and overall it affected us in many ways. And he actually missed half of the games for the Chicago Bulls this season, only played 41 games in total for the Chicago Bulls. Very, very upsetting there. And the most important thing about Alex Caruso is that if everybody was healthy, he could have had a real shout. Probably would not have won it, because I think Tyler Hero has had a perfect season in almost every single way for the Miami Heat. But Alex Caruso would have been up there, in my opinion, as one of the best bench players in the NBA. With the way that he was able to play defense, lead the league in steals for a variety of times throughout the season. Didn't end up leading the league in steals overall, but he was up there for the Chicago Bulls at the beginning of the season, taking the most charges. I still believe at one point in the NBA playoffs in the second round, Alex Caruso was leading the league in charges in the NBA playoffs. That goes to show how much of that gritty type of mentality that Alex Caruso has. And in my opinion, when everybody is healthy, he's the best bench player to have on a team, because he brings the defensive energy. He's a glue guy. He has a surprising playmaking repertoire as well. Alex Caruso, in my opinion, has had a very, very, very good season for the Chicago Bulls, but that does come with their weaknesses as well. Sometimes he's had a lack of ability to shoot the shot well. Again, I think he's had 38% or something like that in terms of field goal percentage, which is not good for Alex Caruso, let's be honest. When it comes to scoring the ball, he has not been very good this season, but the injuries, in my opinion, was the key as to a successful season to a mediocre season. And in my opinion, he's right up there with having one of the better seasons for the Chicago Bulls. The most important thing for Alex Caruso in the next year is to stay healthy, to stay focused on the task at hand. And I understand that when you play the defense that Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball play, injuries will come. But the most important thing, I guess, is to try and make sure you're playing more than half the year. I think it's very upsetting that we didn't get to see Alex Caruso for half of this season. And that's very unfortunate, because we know what it brings to the table. I thought he had a very, very good year. Playmaking, defense, his leadership, his ability to take those charges, put his body on the line, the hustle plays. You can't ask for much more than Alex Caruso. I think he had a massive step up from last season to this year as well. It's just a shame that he just couldn't get a full season under his belt. Now let's move on to Lonzo Ball. In my opinion, the most pivotal player that we've missed all season for the Chicago Bulls. First things first, his ability to shoot the three-point shot was massive for this team. You could clearly see the deficit when Lonzo Ball was not playing and shooting those threes for the Chicago Bulls. 42% from the three-point line. This team went from one of the highest percentages at the three-point line with the least amount of attempts to one of the worst percentages in the NBA by the end of the season. There was obviously the correlation there. Lonzo Ball wasn't in the team at the end of the year. Lonzo Ball wasn't in the team at the NBA playoffs. And that's kind of what happened in terms of our defense as well. Top 5 defense with both Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball there. Both of them get injured for a significant period of time together. This team kind of falls all the way down to the bottom of the league in defense. So you clearly see how massive these two guys are towards the Chicago Bulls and the defensive end, and Lonzo Ball is no exception. Now, funnily enough, Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso are completely different defenders in my opinion. Lonzo Ball is the type of guy, in my opinion, that will do much better on the bigger men. The main example, in my opinion, is what Lonzo Ball was able to do with guys like Julius Randle earlier on in the year. Switching on to Julius Randle, banging down low, very good post defender for his size. At 6'7", he has the ability to crash the glass and put it in transition as well. His defense is, in my opinion, different to Alex Caruso, but I think both of them are equally as important to how the success of the Chicago Bulls was able to function. These two playing together on the defensive end is a nightmare for offensive teams in many ways, because they both have capabilities of showing different styles of defense as well. I think Lonzo Ball is a very good player in terms of switching as well. A very good pick and roll defender also. Very, very important towards the Chicago Bulls. And I guess the funny thing also when it comes to Lonzo Ball, it's not really funny, I guess it's the sad thing with Lonzo Ball, the injuries once again took place and made a huge factor towards this team and the success of this team as well. Now, Lonzo Ball actually played less games than Alex Caruso. He played 35 games this season. And even until this day, there is still ongoing knee issues with Lonzo Ball that we still do not know the reason for. So again, it's a very unfortunate circumstance with Lonzo Ball. And I personally feel like it's very sad that we're seeing situations where Lonzo Ball was probably the biggest difference maker on this team. Again, we went from the 5th to the 29th defense in the NBA without Lonzo Ball. Our three-point play died, or I guess became significantly worse without Lonzo Ball. Our transition game died completely without Lonzo Ball. So he clearly makes an impact in more ways than one. And he may not be the absolute best player on this team, but he makes things a lot easier for everybody involved. And everybody has said that about Lonzo Ball. So I hope for everybody's sake in the future, he has a healthy season as well next year. He gets whatever he needs done on his knee. Just get it over and done with. Have that surgery, have that recovery time, because next season we're going to need Lonzo Ball, and we're going to need him more than 35 games per year. And there's something else I wanted to mention with Lonzo Ball, because I thought he had a terrific year overall. His stats might not have been as good as, I guess, the Pelicans' stats. But overall, I think Lonzo Ball, with a better team, made the NBA playoffs. This team did. Lonzo Ball was a big part of that, especially towards the beginning of the year when we were first and second in the East. You can't, you can't deceive Lonzo Ball's performance. You can't say that Lonzo Ball didn't make an impact. Overall, in my opinion, he made one of the hugest impacts on this team. So I'm happy with Lonzo Ball's first year, but I can't discredit his injury record for the NBA, not just the Chicago Bulls as well. He hasn't had many healthy years in the NBA whatsoever, which is extremely unfortunate because he's so talented, and we all know he has the potential to be an all-star in the NBA as well, and definitely an all-NBA defender for multiple years to come. But that does come down with staying healthy. So he does have to, in my opinion, maybe change his training regime, change something in towards, I guess, his diet as well, whatever it is. Again, it's chronic pain, unfortunate. It was unfortunate when it happened. But if for one reason or another, Lonzo Ball has just not been able to stay consistently healthy. So he has to change something in order for next year, because I'd love to see a healthy Lonzo Ball, first in the NBA playoffs, but also to play a full season with this team, so we don't have a drop-off in our defense. We don't have a drop-off in our three-point shooting. We just don't have a drop-off in general, because next season, the main thing for the Chicago Bulls is to stay consistent, to have the start of the season and the end of the season replicate each other. Whether it's a better season overall or a worse season, the last thing that we need is inconsistency from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. And a big part of that, the big part of us being able to achieve that, is to have Lonzo and Alex Caruso on the team together for a little bit longer than what they did this year. That's their goals for next year, in my opinion, because in terms of when they were on the court, there was definitely some good things. And I think Lonzo Ball definitely needs to be utilized a little bit more in terms of being a point guard. But the role that he was played in this season for the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, was a very good one. And we'll wait and see how next year approaches and how we take those different steps for Lonzo and Caruso. The two defensive dynamic duos, very important, and both of their season reviews have come to an end today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in more season reviews and more news videos for the Chicago Bulls. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.